In this video, we will explain absolutely everything you need to know to travel to Kyoto. This is the most complete and detailed video you will watch today about this destination, covering everything from the complex logistics of the ancient imperial capital to the secrets of the golden temples, the geishas of Gion, the bamboo forest, and the best tips to escape the crowds. So let us get started. Kyoto was the capital of Japan for over 1,000 years and is the cultural and spiritual heart of the country. It is the opposite of frantic Tokyo. It is a city where time passes more slowly, surrounded by mountains and filled with over 2,000 temples and shrines, impeccable Zen gardens, and traditional wooden houses called machiya. It is the place where you feel the soul of old Japan, but it requires careful planning because its attractions are spread out and transportation can be confusing. Now, let us move on to logistics and planning. What is the best time to visit Kyoto? The city changes drastically with the seasons. The best time by far is during spring and autumn. Spring from March to May is world famous for the sakura, the cherry blossom season, that creates pink tunnels in canals and temples, usually in the first week of April. Autumn from October to November is famous for the koyo, when maple leaves turn vibrant red, creating the most beautiful landscape of the year. We recommend avoiding summer, especially July and August, as Kyoto sits in a basin surrounded by mountains, and the heat is suffocating with a heat index above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Winter is cold, but it is when the city is emptier, and you might be lucky enough to see the temples covered in snow. And how many days to stay in Kyoto? The city is much bigger than it seems. The number one mistake is doing a one-day trip from Osaka. You will see almost nothing. The bare minimum we recommend to see the main temples is 3 full days. But to take it easy, visit Arashiyama and still take a day trip to Nara. The ideal is 5 full days. Mandatory documentation for U.S. citizens. To enter Japan, you need to be aware of the current rules. First, your U.S. passport must be valid for the duration of your stay. The excellent news is that U.S. citizens are visa exempt for short-term stays of up to 90 days for tourism purposes. However, always check the updated rules with the consulate before boarding, as diplomatic rules can change. In addition, it is necessary to fill out the immigration and customs form, which can be done digitally through the Visit Japan website to speed up your entry at the airport by generating a QR code. And remembering travel insurance. Medical costs in Japan are extremely high, so travel insurance is highly recommended and indispensable. The health system is excellent but private for tourists, and the cost of a simple medical emergency can reach tens of thousands of dollars. We never travel without it, and in the link in the description, there is the comparator we use, which always finds insurance for half the price, comparing the best insurers on the market. We will leave the link in the description for you to guarantee this protection. Now let us talk about transportation and how to get around Kyoto. This is the most critical part, because the Kyoto subway is limited and has only 2 lines. Most tourists make the mistake of depending only on buses, which are constantly crowded and stuck in traffic. The best way to get around is a combination of trains for distant areas and walking. For Arashiyama, use the JR line train or the private Ranton line. For Fushimi Inari, use the JR or Keihan line train. To circulate in the center, renting an electric bicycle is a fantastic idea, as the city is flat. If you need to use buses, avoid peak hours. Taxis are expensive but worth it for short distances to save your legs. Always buy the rechargeable Ikoka or Suica card to pay for everything without lines. And the car. Do not rent a car in Kyoto under any circumstances. The streets are narrow, many are one-way, traffic is slow, and parking lots near temples are non-existent or cost a fortune. Staying in a good region will make your trip much easier. The strategy is to choose between logistical convenience or traditional atmosphere. The first option, and the most practical for logistics, is the Kyoto Station region. The advantage is that you are at the largest transport hub with bullet trains and buses to everywhere, as well as having modern malls and restaurants. It is ideal for those who will take day trips to Nara or Osaka. The disadvantage is that the area is modern and lacks historical charm. The second option, and our favorite, is the Gion and Kawaramachi region. The advantage is that you are in the heart of the action near the Geisha district, the Kamo River, and hundreds of restaurants. You can walk to many temples at night. The disadvantage is that hotels here are much more expensive. The third option is the Higashiyama region. The advantage is staying in a preserved area with stone streets and wooden houses, waking up inside history. The disadvantage is that at night everything closes early and transportation is more difficult. We created this personalized map that explains exactly which is the best central region to stay, highlighting the areas near the train lines that facilitate tourism. We will leave here on the screen QR code and in the video description the link to this exclusive map. We created them on the hotel site we always use, as it always has the best prices and reliable options. Over there, you can already put your travel date and see all hotel options within this strategic location for the lowest prices. We will also leave links to the hotels we have already stayed at and approved. In all destinations, we always recommend one that is very cheap and super well located for those who want to save money, and another that is a little better in the same location but a little more expensive with more comfort. These are great options tested by us. An important tip to save on accommodation is the advanced strategy. Good hotels in Kyoto sell out 6 months in advance during the cherry blossom and autumn seasons. That is why we really like using this site we indicated. In addition to having the lowest prices, it has free cancellation with almost all hotels. You can book as soon as possible to guarantee a much lower price, and if you need to cancel later due to any change of plans, it is super easy and at no cost. And remembering that in this link below, we always organize everything you need to set up your entire trip for the lowest price on a single page. The sites we use to build our trips, and that have everything much cheaper, such as the international eSIM cell phone chip. So you arrive connected tickets for all the popular attractions we will mention next, the good and cheap hotels we have already stayed at, and the global account to carry yen paying much lower exchange rates. Save this page in your favorites. Now let us get to the main attractions with details you cannot miss. Attraction number 1 is the Fushimi Inari Taisha Shrine. It is Kyoto's most famous postcard, known for its more than 10,000 red torii gates forming tunnels up the mountain. It is dedicated to the god of rice and business. Logistics involve taking the JR Nara line train to Inari Station, which drops you right at the door. The golden tip is to arrive before 7 in the morning to take photos with no one. Most tourists stop halfway, but if you climb to the top in a 1-hour hike, the crowd disappears. Entry is free and open 24 hours. Attraction number 2 is Kiyomizu Dera Temple, the Temple of Pure Water. It is famous for its huge wooden terrace built without a single nail, offering a spectacular view of the city and the cherry blossoms. Logistics involve climbing the cobblestone slopes called Ninanzaka and Sananzaka, full of tea houses and ceramic shops. The ticket costs about $4. Try to go in the late afternoon to see the sunset. Attraction number 3 is Kinkakuji, the Golden Pavilion. It is a Zen temple completely covered in pure gold leaf, reflecting in the waters of the mirror pond. It is a surreal sight. Logistics involve taking a bus or taxi, as it is far from the subway. The ticket costs about $5. It is always crowded, so go right at opening time at 9 in the morning. Attraction number 4 is the Arashiyama Bamboo Grove. It is located in the west of the city. It is a path surrounded by giant bamboo that seems to touch the sky. Logistics involve taking the JR Sagano line train to Saga Arashiyama Station, combined with a visit to Tenryuji Temple, which has an amazing Zen garden. The forest is free, but the temple costs about $5. Attraction number 5 is the Gion District. It is Japan's most famous geisha district. Walk along Hanami Koji Street, where you will see traditional tea houses, and if you are lucky, you might see a geisha or maiko on her way to work in the late afternoon. Remember not to touch or stop the geishas for photos, as it is forbidden. Visiting the neighborhood is free, and the atmosphere at night with the lanterns lit is magical. Attraction number 6 is Nijo Castle. It was the residence of the Tokugawa shogun in Kyoto. It is famous for its nightingale floors, which were designed to squeak when someone walks, serving as an alarm against ninjas and intruders. The gardens and paintings on the sliding doors are magnificent. It is near Nijojo-mei subway station. The ticket costs about $9. Attraction number 7 is the Philosopher's Path. It is a 2-kilometer stone path along a canal, lined with hundreds of cherry trees. It is the most beautiful place in the city during spring. It starts near the Silver Pavilion Ginkaku-ji and ends near Nanzenji Temple. The walk is free and takes about 30 minutes. An important tip that will save you time and money is to buy tickets for attractions and tours in advance. On the spot, it is always more expensive, and the most famous sights and experiences like tea ceremony or wearing a kimono sell out. We will leave in the QR code on the screen and in the video description the link to the site where we always buy tickets and tours for the lowest price. It is the largest tour site in the world and has practically everything there. Tickets for Kyoto Tower, guided tours of Gion, and cultural experiences. Now let us move on to gastronomy. Kyoto's cuisine is refined and famous for kaiseki ryori, which is the traditional Japanese haute cuisine banquet with multiple seasonally beautifully presented dishes. Another highlight is tofu and yuba, which is tofu skin served in various ways in Arashiyama. And of course, everything made from matcha green tea powder, as Kyoto is the most famous producing region. For restaurant suggestions, if you are looking for a cheap and delicious option, go to Honka Daiichi Asahi near Kyoto Station. It is a classic ramen restaurant with soy sauce broth where the line is long but moves fast. A bowl costs about $8. For a mid-price experience, try tonkatsu, which is breaded pork at the Katsukura chain. The sauce is delicious and you grind the sesame seeds fresh. A full meal costs about $20. And for absolute luxury reserve, a lunch or dinner at Kikunoi, a Michelin-starred restaurant serving the authentic kaiseki experience. The menu can cost over $300 per person and requires reservation months in advance. Quick and in-depth shopping tips. Kyoto is the best place in Japan to buy traditional crafts. Nishiki Market is a covered street known as Kyoto's Kitchen, where you can buy Japanese knives, pickles preserves, and spices. For traditional souvenirs like fans, Kiyomizu Yaki ceramics, and incense, the streets of Ninenzaka and Sanenzaka are paradise. For modern shopping and department stores, go to Shinkyogoku and Teramachi streets, which are covered arcades full of clothing stores, drugstores, and cheap souvenirs. If you are looking for high-quality secondhand kimonos, look for antique shops in Gion. What to do at night? Kyoto's nightlife is quieter than Tokyo's, but very charming. The best region is Pontocho Alley, a narrow lane parallel to the Kamo River full of restaurants and bars lit by lanterns. In summer, restaurants set up wooden decks over the river, called kawayuka, for outdoor dining. Another option is to walk along the banks of the Kamo River, where locals gather to drink and play music. And if you are traveling with kids, Kyoto can be tiring for children because of the temples, but it has great attractions. They will love the Iwatayama Monkey Park in Arashiyama. You hike up a trail and reach the top where dozens of monkeys live free, and you can feed them from inside a safe cage. The Kyoto Railway Museum is one of the best in the world with real steam trains and simulators. And Toei Kyoto Studio Park is a period movie theme park where kids can see ninjas and samurai in action. And to combine your trip, the most classic combination is with Nara, the first capital of Japan, which is just 45 minutes by train. There, you visit Nara Park, where over 1,000 sacred deer live free and bow, asking for cookies and see the giant Buddha. Another mandatory combination is with Osaka, which is 30 minutes by train and offers the best street food and nightlife in the country. If you liked this complete guide, like the video, and subscribe to our channel to travel more and better around the world with the best tips. Thank you very much, and have a safe trip.